and then be present. Think of a fruit that you really like. It could be an apple, could be a banana, could be an orange. Think of the color, think of the shape, think of the smell, the taste. I'm sure you got yours. Now imagine that fruit is hanging right up here. Whatever fruit that you guys are thinking of. And then let's stretch and try to get it. Stretch. With your two hands. For a favorite fruit, just a single hand? No, not fair. All right, a little bit up, up. Grab it, madam. Madam, we have a basket down there, put it in your basket. Excellent. Now to your right, another one. To your left. Then does it? No. All right, to your basket. Excellent. Now to your left, your favorite fruit. Madam, stretch. Is that how you get it? Madam, you grabbed it? Excellent. Let's put it in your basket. Basket, sorry. Thank you so much. We sit it. Excellent. I would like to invite the next speaker who came from all the way South Africa, from South Africa, Johannesburg, to give us her wisdom, her knowledge, her experience that she's been doing. She's been in the industry for a while now. It really warms my heart always whenever I see a woman, an intellectual, an experienced adult, an entrepreneur. So I would love to give you a few ideas on who our next speaker is, Miss Sibayeni. She's passionate about farming, technology, and agribusiness trainings. She is an environmental specialist and agricultural consultant who dedicated her life to developing agricultural business projects and transforming the way of farming. Committed to making farming affordable and doable in cities, she founded Sibayeni Metrofarming, through which she is empowering entrepreneurs, manufacturing hydroponic systems, smart farming training, and agribusiness consulting services in South Africa, Johannesburg. She scientifically has a background and network has its roots all over the world, representing women in business in the African continent, Asia, Europe, and more. Sibayeni has contributed to women and youth empowerment and skills development through small business incubation and mentorship programs in South Africa. She's affiliated with international networking platforms like Global Youth Leadership. Trust me, I can go on and on about her. Thank you so much, Sibayeni, for being with us. I'm going to give her a few minutes to reflect on the topic, and then we're going to come back to a question. Thank you so much for coming and blessing us by your presence. The stage is all yours.
Greetings. While I'm waiting for my presentation to come up, okay, I'm Samgelisiwe Chunda from Sibayeni Metrofarming is my company. I was born in an area called Sibayeni, so that is why I call my business Sibayeni. And the metro farming comes from, I do my farming in a metro or in the city, so that's how you're gonna get to see that. And I founded the company with my partner Andiswa. Someday you'll get to meet her. Okay, I'm gonna be focusing on the impact of climate change, especially in agriculture, and how that translates to food insecurity. In South Africa, we've had our own share of challenges that comes with climate change. And I believe that has happened with many other African countries within the continent. Like, for instance, for every farmer, it is important to know when it's going to rain, when it is a dry season, and so on, because most of the things that we plant actually relate to that. I must know what to plant and how long will I get to my harvest time. So if the rainfall patterns are changing like it is happening, it often affects the farmers. The rising sea levels affect us all. The change in temperatures, like for instance, the winters are now too cold, the summer is too hot. It causes our plants to wilt, and that affects our harvest. We've had our fair share of pest and insect infestation, especially during spring, those that we were seeing for the very first time. And looking at the picture on the side, I'm sure some of you heard on the news the challenges that we had in our country 2 months ago that came with flooding that actually didn't only wash away roads, houses, and bridges and farms, but it also took away about 500 lives that were affected, and all that is due to the impact of climate change. And to the farmers, these are the things that often happen when the climate is shifting or changing. We have a low yield. When you look at the picture, it actually shows that we all can have a seed planted, invest everything that is required for the plant to grow until harvest time. But when that happens, then the harvest is different. And you know, when that happens, it means the one who has a smaller maize comb will yield or will get a lower benefit in terms of the profit. So that's how it affects us. It leads to poverty in many of our cities and communities, and also leading to food insecurity. It affects us a lot, and as farmers, we end up creating our own adaptation, which has its own challenges. I'll explain as I continue. Like for instance, many of the farmers will go to an extent of going to look for seeds that will be drought resistant, just to make sure that they continue to produce. But those kind of seeds or GMOs, they have their own impact as well on how they affect the consumers or the person who will be able to eat that. They actually crop rotate much faster or much quicker, which often affects the soil as well and create other challenges. In the pocket of a farmer, you can imagine when under normal circumstances, you will have a particular quantity that you need of fertilizers. But due to climate change, so the soil has been eroded and the water is limited, you are forced to go find more fertilizers so that you are able to produce. And lastly, the painful part is that most of the farmers, because they are affected by the pests and the insects, they end up going out and looking for pesticides. And those chemicals, even though they are meant to kill the insect, they are meant to kill that pest, they are meant to kill that specific worm. The unfortunate part is that a week, 2 weeks later, we are going to harvest those products, and as a person, the chemical that was meant to kill the pest, I am now consuming it. And so I am now consuming it, and as a result, it actually causes cancerous diseases on human beings after consuming the products that were sprayed with the toxic chemicals. And also that all these challenges that I've been talking about has made entry to commercial farming more expensive, because now in order to get into farming, you will require millions. In my country, we call it rands. That's the currency we're using. I don't know what you're using in your country, but those are the challenges that we're facing, that you need to pop up a lot of money so that you have tractors, you have bigger land, you have irrigation systems, you change all these things so that you are able to produce. As a result, when you think of a young person who is 24 or 31, most of us, we do not have the multi-millions to be able to start farming. So it becomes a limiting factor, because now young people cannot get into farming due to all the things that they're supposed to put in. More labor gets required, and it also requires then now that we move to a climate smart environment, which is what I specialize on, and I'll explain more. Mitigation factors that are required in order to make sure that the impact of climate change is minimized in our spaces. We try our best to plant as many and as much trees as possible. I was told yesterday that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia has a project of planting about 5 billion trees, and so far, sorry, they have planted about 5 billion trees, and their plan is to plant 1 billion trees each and every year. Those are the things that we require. And the reason for that, it's because when we do farming, us as farmers, when we get a space or land where we need to farm, we often come and we bulldoze everything, right? So we kill every part of the biodiversity that exists in that space so that we are able to plant just one product. By the way, I'm an environmentalist by profession, so in my other world, I also attend to environmental issues. Also, mitigation factors that we ensure we do farming as organically as possible, and that is very much possible. At Sibayeni Metrofarming, we do a lot of videos on social media, so you can check Sibayeni Metrofarming on YouTube so that you get to learn what is it that you can be able to use that is organic in order to spray your products as you have planted without using chemicals. And that actually means whatever product that comes after will be healthy for whoever is going to consume it. Also, we use improved irrigation systems that are more affordable. You'll get to learn another time about that. And coming to the climate smart farming, we've done our best over the years to manufacture the hydroponic systems. So these are the kind of systems that enable us to be able to grow our food from the ground going up. So we do a vertical farming. And while we are doing that, a number of benefits we are able to draw from that. One is that we're able to maximize our space. So when I look at this room, it is about 250 square meters. And in this, I can be able to produce crops that are equivalent to someone who has a 5 hectares. So I'm able to put 5 hectares in a space of this room that's about 200 square meters. We're able to reduce the amount of water that we use for irrigation. If you look at the systems, they work in a recycling way that is able to move the water or pump the water up. It flows until the bottom. So we recycle the water, we also recycle the nutrients. Not only that we are saving 90% irrigation water, but we also are able to save the fertilizers or the nutrients that we are using, which, by the way, it is organic. There's no chemical in it, so that we eat healthy food. And then it is cost effective. Think about it. When you have to buy land, you have to have tractors, you employ people. Often all those things we do months before you can harvest. So it means if you do not have that much money, you can never start in commercial farming. So we reduce those costs because we take out all the other things that you do not need in farming and make sure that we keep only what you need for your plant to grow. And then we reduce the operations as well. When I'm talking about operations, it's all the up and downs that includes logistics and all that moves your food from where you're producing it, and also the implements that you require. It is minimal risk. You can think about it when you plant it in the soil. There's so many things that are happening in the soil. It could be polluted. It could be having insects that are crawling around or any other thing. There could be floods and all those kind of things. So when you are producing in such kind of systems, you actually have kept everything in one space. You are able to check it on daily basis, and it is much easier for you to see if there's a problem, and you fix that one problem before it affects your whole field. And also we reduce the gas emissions. how we reduce gas emissions, we make sure that we use reusable energy or natural energy. We do not use any chemicals. We plant in the city where our consumers are. So I produce right here and I deliver my food right here. There are no trucks that are transporting my food for whatever number of miles. So I would have saved the environment while I'm saving my pocket as well. Hence, I'm saying agriculture or agriculture technology is an enabler for us as women and young people in farming. This is the kind of technology that we produce and we are selling in our country, and when we have produced, it looks like that, the things that we have planted. And when you look at this, this is the point where we actually come and say to our leaders, farming has taken a different direction. It has changed. Land is no longer our basic for farming, but technology is. So please make sure that you get us the right things. Also, when you look at my grandmother on the other side, apologies if that happens to be your relative. I took this picture on internet. This is how farming used to be before. It required a lot of energy and so on. And most of us as young people, we are often accused of being lazy, not being committed. We put down a lot of promises that we never keep. And while we want to achieve entrepreneurship. So this is a challenge actually to all the young people that go out there and make sure that you do your part. I said this is a plug and play. It is a very simple system, but it doesn't mean that it happens on its own. If you ever get to it, you need to work it for it to be successful. And then also the difficulty that we often have with young people in Africa is that we never collaborate. Once you get information, you want to keep it to yourself, you don't share with anyone, and that has actually set us back. Most of the speakers have indicated here that when we work together, we actually are able to achieve more than when you are working alone. So it is important. Networking, it's very much important as well, so that we are able to achieve as much transformation in agriculture as possible. If I had more time, I was going to explain more opportunities that are happening in this as well. Different kinds of investments that I do. And when you're looking at these things, by the way, everything that I'm talking about, I didn't Google the agriculture technology that I'm talking about. It is things that I do. That is why when I'm presenting, I put my own picture so that you can be able to see that it was me working on it. So some of the things, they're not as expensive as you think technology is. It's things that you can work around it depending on what you have within your space and make sure that you produce as much as possible. Let's continue training each other. I also run trainings within the country that are physical and also online trainings. I always encourage people that as much as we do what we call stockfell, I don't know what you call it in your country. A stockfell is where a group of people come together and they put in monies so that they are able to use it for their benefits in future, or they cash it out in future. Those are the things that we can be able to come together, put in money, put in resources, and then we become a bigger farming group within our area. Also that we get to create forums. Forums, it is like where we are sitting right now, where we are able to communicate what is happening in your country, what is happening in my country, the challenges we share, and then we find solutions together. And collaboration, I've already spoken about it. There's so much that can be done, by the way, in farming, including agro-processing, that I'm not going to talk about right now. However, I need to indicate this. I think some of the speakers have said it before. We need more than the investment or funding. We need to learn to buy from each other. Our challenge in Africa has always been whenever I try to do whatever kind of business, you never get out of your way to come and buy from me. Instead, you do whatever possible to bring me down. So it is important. Secondly, please recommend me. Just like when you go out there, you are able to recommend BMW as the best car, whatever. You're able to talk about whatever German products that you can think of and appliances. Do the same with farming as well. Recommend me, recommend your sister, recommend your neighbor, so that we are able to do well in business. To our leaders, our politicians, our government, you've been asking how you can support us. Now let me tell you, this is how you can support us. Make the environment for doing business easy for us. Help us to be able to get certified. Help us and make the registration for business much easier and affordable for the young person. Make the policies not a limitation for me to be able to start business, but make sure that the policies actually empowers me so that I'm able to do more business. Resources, please bring as much resources as possible for us. The incubation centers where I can be kept for a period while I'm building myself, I'm building my product, so that I am able to come out and give the best product required by the country. Make sure that the research that you fund within the country, it is the right research that will support entrepreneurship. Earlier on, I wanted to raise my hand on education, that question, but anyway, I'll talk about it another time. That why do you make me spend 17 years at school studying something that I will not need when I complete university? And then when I complete university, you tell me to go start something new, and that is entrepreneurship. But all these years, you never taught me that. The education system, please fix it for us. Capacity building, create trainings for us that will capacitate us in order to succeed in business. Brand us. You know, I go around always carrying my flag and trying to make sure that the country is known, called South Africa, and I need the same about my country to be able to brand my business. Funding, create the grants and the subsidies that will make it possible for me to produce whatever that I'm doing in my business much cheaper, so that I'm able to compete with India, I'm able to compete with China. If you don't subsidize me, therefore it means China will always be more cheaper and people will run to them and leave my products. Buy from us. It's very much important. I think I said this earlier, that we buy amongst each other, but also for the government. They need to buy from us. Before you say, I don't qualify to supply your presidential event with 1, 2, 3. Make sure that you qualify me. Help me to be at the position where I am qualified and I'm able to compete with Skylight Hotel, so that I supply the products. Create markets for our products. We produce so many things, but it ends up in our street. It never go beyond the street or get exported because we don't have the markets. Hence, I'm making examples of fruit, fresh produce markets, agri-hubs, and so on, where after I have produced, I can take my products there. I don't have to incur the logistics and all the troubles in order to get my products exported. It will be the responsibility of the government to take my products further when I have produced it. So it means I don't incur much in my operations. And I love you so much. Please keep in touch. We are available on social media. Please make sure that you log on, you follow us, you comment, you share whatever information. By the way, I spoke about affiliation. I'm also a deputy president or vice president of the Global Youth Leadership Network. So yes, lastly, before I sit, if you can eat it, you can produce it. Anything that you think you need when you wake up in the morning to eat, you are able to produce that. Thank you. Oh, okay. The word. Oh, amasekanal. Siyabonga. Thank you.
I asked her earlier while we were networking, are you married? Because she looks very beautiful. Guess what? She said she has 3 children already. I know. I was very surprised myself. It always really warms my heart whenever I see a woman beyond the household because it's really shaking the status quo because people think just because you give birth, you have to be in the house. You cannot be just the status quo actually. So whenever I see a woman like herself, there are so many students from very young ones. This is an inspiration, right? If you are inspired, can I hear some noise, please? Are you inspired? The ladies. Yeah. Amazing. It was a very inspiring one because, as they say earlier, the one who feeds you controls you. What if we can manage to feed ourselves? That's the question she wants to really raise. Thank you so much. It was a very interesting one. And also, she called for action and also for the policymakers as well. Thank you so much, Sibayeni. You're doing an amazing job. An amazing job. I can literally hear for her presentation all day long. Yeah, she was amazing. Thank you so much. I would love to give an opportunity for a single question because we have a final presenter. Single question, yes. Over there. If I can have an usher, thank you so much. Please stand up so that he can see you easily. Thank you so much.
My name is Gakiran. I'm here with my MEN team from Labawe Academy. And I have 2 questions. The first one is, what have you done regarding the low food security and supply by the cause of extreme weathers in the agriculture? And also, what are your plans regarding this? And the second one is, how can we change the perspective of the people about the products produced in our country are not always with a low quality? Thank you.
Can you please repeat the second question, please?
How do you think we can change the perspective of the people about the products produced in our country are not always with a low quality so then they can buy from us?
Thank you. Okay, on the first one, the extreme temperatures, I did indicate that we can start by working on the environment outside, planting as many trees, reducing pollution, not only pollution in the soil where you are planting, but also going downstream. You remember I indicated that if we spray the chemicals on the food, it actually becomes a pollution to me when I eat it. But also in addition to that, if it rains, it gets washed down to the river. So it creates more problems, and that's how the extreme temperatures are coming, because that's the impact that we have on the environment. Hence, we need to make sure that our production is limited to a particular space. As much as I'm able to get in a warehouse and produce a chair, a car, um, a shoe, we do the same with the farming. You get in a space that you are able to control and you do your production there. So you don't affect anything outside there, but also you don't get affected by the environment outside. So your temperature can be kept in a standard, or yeah, in a standard way throughout the year. That doesn't only protect your plants, but it enables you to produce 365, because any season you're able to produce. The second one, changing the perspective. Let's market ourselves as much as possible. Let's excel in our businesses. You know, we all want good products. We all want something that we will enjoy the value of our money. If you produce something, ask yourself, would you buy from yourself? Whatever it is that you produced, will you buy from yourself? If you cannot buy from yourself, then don't ask another person to buy from you. Produce the best that even yourself can be able to buy. Then it's easy to convince another person or to change another person's perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Please give Miss Sibayeni a round of applause and to send her back to her seat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Keep doing the amazing job. Thank you so much. Our final presenter for the day